Hey guys, welcome back to another game from the Tata Steel Masters. My pick for the game of the round is between Richard Rapport and Anish Giri. So Rapport, the young Hungarian star, is well known for his unorthodox opening choices. Giri, on the other hand, is known to be pretty solid. But he had a rough start to this tournament in the first round. He actually lost with the white pieces against Nepo, but he managed to bounce back with a brilliant win against Vladimir Kramnik. So without further ado, let's jump into this game. Rapport had white, Giri with the black pieces. Rapport opened with d4. d5 from Giri, we have knight c3. So not the kind of opening you would expect from a top player, but this is pretty normal for Rapport. He loves these offbeat openings. So Jabava is also another player who plays this knight c3 system. Giri played knight f6, bishop f4, e6, and knight to b5, so immediately going for c7. So knight to a6, we have e3, bishop e7, knight f3, Giri castled, bishop to d3 and c6, kicking back the knight, knight c3. So here Giri played knight to b4. Previously c5 has been played. So knight b4, the new move in the position, going for the bishop pair. Rapport plays h3, giving the bishop a flight square on h2. So Giri took on d3, gaining the bishop pair, and b6, preparing to fianchetto the bishop. Castles from Rapport, bishop b7. So here, if e4 right away, trying to gain the center, then black can break with c5, trying to undermine white's center, and the position is about to open up for the two bishops. So here Rapport played queen to b3. So white might be thinking of trying to poke b6 with a4 and a5. Knight d7 from Anish Giri, controlling e5. We have rook f to e1, rook c8, and rook a to c1, so both sides move their rooks to the optimal squares. h6 from Anish, a waiting move. Bishop g3, so white makes a waiting move as well. So Giri goes a5 in this position. The typical idea of breaking with c5, trying to open up the bishop, well, this would run into knight to b5, attacking a7 and also threatening knight to d6. So Giri plays a5. So this has the idea of going bishop a6 and b5. And this is done in order to prevent white from bringing his knight to b5. Black will then try to play moves like queen b6 or a4 to just secure this b5 pawn and eventually try to get in the move c5. So here Rapport played knight to a4, putting more pressure on b6 and also stopping the immediate c5. If c5 right away, then knight to e5, b6 is a bit loose. So here Giri played bishop a6, getting the bishop out of this pin. So maybe threatening now to play c5, so Rapport plays knight to e5, trying his best to make this break more difficult. So that was taken. And with the knights traded, black has less control over the c5 square. So now bishop b5, that defends the b6 pawn. Rook e2 from Rapport, white prepares to double on the c-file, and the battle is revolved around stopping black from going c5. So Anish played rook e8, rook e to c2, and bishop back to f8. So Giri is just being very patient and waiting to see how Rapport is going to proceed. As white, you might be thinking, since all of my pieces are on the optimal squares, something should be waiting to happen. Therefore, Rapport tries to stir up trouble with knight takes b6. This, of course, has to be taken, and a4 from Rapport, gaining the piece back. But somehow this only helps Giri because now he plays rook to a8. And if the piece is taken, then a4, queen c3, followed by taking on b5, and black, there I would say is even better here because of his potential to create a passed pawn with the a and b pawns. So here Rapport plays g4, now trying to stir up trouble on the king side. Queen to d8 is a good move from Giri, just unpinning the bishop, and his queen can also swing over to the king side. So now this a takes b5 is forced, and a4, so this keeps the material even. Because if c takes b5, then simply queen takes b5. So a4, queen c3, and now black took on b5. And more importantly, black has the potential to create a passed pawn. Rapport played queen to c6, so attacking this b5 pawn, therefore b4. Bishop c7, queen to g5. So white has a lot of activity down the c file, but that doesn't really achieve much in this position. Black is reasonably solid here, and the threat is now to play a3. So Rapport goes all out with the move f4. Queen to g6, and he plays e4. So hoping that the space advantage will amount to something, but white's king is feeling rather drafty. So h5 from Giri, a logical move, trying to open up the king. So Rapport responds with g5, and now h4. So this pawn could potentially support a queen coming down to g3 if the g file opens up. King f2 from Rapport, and a3, trying to create a passed pawn. It's interesting that even with all this space advantage, black is the one that is controlling the game. So here b3, Giri now has a very dangerous passed pawn. Rook c to e8, pinning the bishop, and black is preparing just to push a to a1. So queen to b7, Giri took on e4, and now he played f6, opening up the king side. Rapport plays bishop to e5, trying to get some counterplay going down this open file. So Giri had to take on c2, and rook e8. So black is very solid in this position, everything is protected. White's bishop is hanging, and this king on f2 looks rather suspect. So Rapport took on f6, and he played king f1. So if black were to take the bishop, then rook g2 pins and wins the queen. So here rook e7 from Giri, a very good move, not wasting any tempo. And now rook g2 is met by simply taking on g2, followed by rook takes b7, and black is up a rook. So here queen to c6, but rook g7 is already decisive. With this queen-rook battery down the open g file, there's not much that white can do here. So Rapport took on e6, king to h7, and it was in this position that Richard Rapport resigned. If he tries to save the bishop, say bishop b8, then queen g1 check, leads to mate in a few more moves. Let's look at one possible variation. So an absolutely brilliant game from Anish Giri. I find him to be a very patient and principled player. Oftentimes when his opponents push too hard, he will punish them for it, as it was seen in this game. In the other games, Vidit managed to beat Van Forest. The rest of the games were drawn. So if you want to see more games from the Tata Steel tournament, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.